Since we're all here early this time, I'll go ahead and read the announcement for the regular meeting. Good evening to all of you and welcome to this regular meeting of the Northside Board of Trustees. Before calling this meeting to order, the board would like to take just a moment to briefly review some of the rules for conducting our meeting. The order of business for this meeting is set out in the agenda. One item that you may notice on it is called the consent agenda. It includes items that are considered routine or are of a recurring nature. All the items listed under the consent agenda will be acted upon in one motion. If there is a consent agenda item which anyone here would like to address, please sign up to speak to that item and we will pull it from the consent motion and discuss it separately. The purpose of our meeting is to conduct board business, and for that reason it is held in public. It's not a public forum. However, we do provide the opportunity for audience participation. If there is anyone here who would like to address the board during an agenda item or the citizens to be heard portion of the agenda, we ask that you please complete a sign-up sheet located at the entrance to this room. This is so we do not overlook anyone who would like to speak to the board. We will review the rules for addressing the board later in the meeting. Is there anyone who would like to sign up to an agenda item and has not done so? I know we have one. So then the meeting will officially be called to order. Please stand as Trustee Dr. Carol Harrell, invocation and the pledges of allegiance.
Almighty and merciful God, we ask your guidance and blessings upon this board, students, parents, patrons, teachers, and administrators as we are assembled here this evening in the common pursuit of this great nation's wealth, our children. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, Dr. Harrell. So welcome back, everybody. It's nice to see everybody's face here again tonight. So we've had a couple short for the last couple meetings, so we can finally accomplish all the business that we have on our agenda. And especially after last week with the convocations that went on all week long and board meetings also. So thank you for all the work that you've done. Karen, unfortunately, was not able to make a convocation because she's taking care of 2.5-year-olds up in Austin. Two of them.
She got a couple.
Yeah.
She got two.
And that's right. I'm sorry. And but you didn't ever talk at any of them, I guess. Everybody else had a chance to talk. And then we had the one person who was Mr. Strong, Northside, who got out there, Mr. Northside Strong, who did one-arm push-ups for everybody, which just blew everybody's mind. So
I think a demonstration at the
I missed it.
very much.
I missed it. Did you see it? See, I missed it, Bobby. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need that. Bobby.
I want you to know, when he took off his suit coat jacket and laid it down, everybody went, "Oh!" and got down on the floor and did that. We were all very impressed, and certainly this is the title for year at Northside. Thank you. Having said that, we will move along to the superintendent's report.
Ms. Reed and members of the board, I too want to thank you for your attendance and your attention at convocations. I think in talking to Pasquale and his folks and James and his folks, we all agree that this one was, we like them all, but that this one was particularly good.
Are you going to mention the last two people that showed up at the end?
At the end of...
Oh, with the mask?
No, I really don't want to do that. No.
We had people dressed like political candidates, let me put it that way.
I was going to keep that out of our board meeting, so... although I couldn't help but say something about it while they were there. I do want to, though, particularly thank Pasquale and the communications group and James Machalka and Elizabeth Sanchez Lopez, who are fortuitously here tonight. That convocation is a massive behind-the-scenes effort. Imagine getting all of that choreographed, both from the messaging side as well as from the student performance side. That's really a massive effort, and those folks and their teams do a tremendous job and make Convocation look so good.
Well, they're not the only ones. You certainly have a very big leading role in that, and so
yeah.
thank you. Thanks to all of you, really.
I'm on the stage, but they do the work. So the cabinet went and, as is traditional, visited all the schools yesterday. I got to visit the two new schools, which was really nice. Got to visit with Mr. Fields and with Mr. Cole, and you're getting ready to see them in a video. And they were both in high good spirits. It was very nice at both places. In spite of the rain, we made it work, and the new schools opened just fine. So we are off to a good start for the school year. So tonight, you know that we bring the finalization of the budget for 16-17 to the board, and I again want to thank the board as well as the folks in business and finance for all of the work that goes into what finally gets presented here tonight. I think we have a good balance between budgeting conservatively as we kind of look out at some uncertainty in the future, and yet still deal with our growth and improve compensation and so forth. So again, thanks to all of you for the work that you've done to get us to where we are with regard to our budget. I also want to say, before we look at the 16-17 start of the school year video, that as you also know, as board also knows, this is Pasquale's last board meeting. This is officially his last board meeting. And if you, well, and all of you saw at Convocation the reception that Pasquale got from the staff, and that happened times 10. That happened 10 times, and it just, I think, shows the impact and the respect that the staff and members of this community have for the work that Pasquale has done in his 40th year in the Northside School District. So, Pasquale, thank you for everything you've done to make this event. And as you know, we do have a little shindig for Pasquale on Friday afternoon, and certainly would love to see, obviously, the board members and anybody else who wants to come send him off in a nice way on Friday afternoon. So, again, Pasquale, thank you. So we're going to transition to the video moment that they cranked out in literally 24 hours from yesterday that shows the start of the school year at our two new elementary schools.
The first day of school is a pretty big deal for students, parents, teachers, and school administrators. The start of the 2016-2017 school year was especially monumental for everyone in two newly created school communities, Benny L. Cole Elementary and Randall H. Fields Elementary. The gloomy, rainy weather didn't dampen spirits as children eagerly walked up to their brand new schools.
Hi, how are you? You ready for the school year?
Are you excited? A little nervous?
What grade are you going to?
We're all a little nervous.
Fifth.
You guys are all fifth?
All fifth?
Oh
great,
my gosh.
Great.
Families lined up to greet the namesakes Benny L. Cole and Randall H. Fields at their respective schools.
Good morning. Hi, how are you? Good morning.
There was a lot of built-up excitement and big, bright smiles as families arrived.
Hey, you're going to have a great year, okay? How are you doing?
This was great. Yeah, I think I met every child that walked through the door, and this is great. And we've got over 700 kids.
Good to see you. What's your name?
The first day of school ever at Cole and Fields was commemorated with snapshots of the namesakes and students.
Took a couple minutes.
Thank you so much.
First day jitters quickly turned into adventures. Many started off with breakfast while parents waved goodbye. Others took one last look into the classroom to make sure their children were safely tucked away.
I think the kids were a little bit more excited than mom and dad as far as the separation goes.
Breakfast was also served to those brave parents letting go of their children for the very first time, and yet others cheering on that summer had ended and their kids were back in school experience.
Was with the students that are coming into Cole, and they were so excited about meeting me.
He hopes to always inspire the children who attend Cole Elementary School.
The example that I want to set is being someone that they can look up to in regards to this is someone that I would want to be like.
What's your name? Emily. I love that name. What grade are you in, Emily?
It was also a humbling experience for Mr. Fields as he shares a message with parents of the children who attend Fields Elementary.
We care about their children more than just about anything else in the world. And it goes way beyond learning. I mean, they're the future of our community, and it's a real privilege and honor to get to work with their children.
Fields principal Dayon Harris says they are off to a great start with some goals in mind.
Y'all ready for school to start? Good. We're the Fields Falcons, and this year, just our theme that we're working off this year is with the heart, because we all want to grow, and become that community. So we're starting with our heart in mind and growing forward.
Cole principal Todd Kenning is especially excited of setting the pace for the year with the start of the first day of school ever for the Cole Explorers.
The goals of the first day are to set the precedent, to make sure that the kids really understand that we're all in this together, we're going to learn together, that this is going to be a true exploration of education and what their future lies. What grade are we going
What
into?
grade?
Third. Got another third.
You're going to have a great year.
Both schools are located in far western Bexar County, where the majority of growth continues. Now, opening day enrollment for Cole Elementary was at 633 students. Fields Elementary was at 715 students, already surpassing projections.
I'll just close Ms. Reed by saying that it really was a privilege to be there and to spend time with the namesakes that all of us are so fortunate to have spent time with working on this board. It was really nice. They were both at least as enthusiastic as the kids and the staff, if not a little bit more. So it was great to see them both.
Yeah.
That concludes superintendent's report, Ms. Reed.
Thank you. Thank you. It certainly was sort of a rainy morning, but it ended up being okay, and it didn't rain where it flooded anything, so everybody got to school safely, even though some of them were a little late. But they all got there anyway. So, and so far it's so good. So, at this time, we'd have any board members who'd like to make. Dr. Hall?
No, I just was going to echo Dr. Wood's feelings about what an honor to be at Cole and Fields. I think when he left, I came at both schools, and Benny he was glowing. He was so excited about the kids coming up and stopping, not walking by him, but stopping to shake his hand and to get their pictures taken. And he kept saying it was like a dream. This was a dream come true. Inside where they had the Boohoo breakfast for the parents who wanted to stay and share their experiences with each other, that was wonderful. They had great food. The Explorer area of the library is going to be such a treat for the kids. It was just so well decorated, and they're just going to have a great time reading and learning. But Benny, he said the only thing that wasn't doing well was his legs, but everything else he was on point, and he just delighted in every moment. And actually, I left like 9:30, 9:45, and he was still there with his wife Edith. And so I don't think he wanted to go home. He really was so in awe. And then went over to Fields and Randy's wife's name?
Nancy.
Nancy. They were busy putting together their showcase, and so he was taking out his Baylor helmet. And kids were walking down the hall in line, and they were supposed to stand in line, but is that you? Did you play football? And here's a teacher trying to start first day procedures, and they were still delighting in the kids and the name of the school, and it just was wonderful. So congratulations, 600 and 700 kids. And there were no snafus. I think there wasn't, and in both instances I said, is there anything I can do while I'm here? And they go, oh, no, no, no. This is running smooth, like we've been open for a long time, but beautiful schools, very different, but beautiful schools and beautiful children and families and of course the teachers. So great day one, great day one.
Ms. Freeman?
Thank you, Ms. Reed. I enjoyed watching the video too. Unable to be at the schools. You can certainly tell that they were honored and proud. I was also touched in the video by a comment that it was kind of subtle what Randy had talked about, that we will take care of. Can't remember his exact. He is still a part of, obviously still a part of Northside, and those are our children, and I appreciate that comment. Just to my fellow board members, at the TASB conference, TASB, as you know, has a stand-up meeting for public ed, talking about the good things that are happening in public education. One thing that they have an initiative, or TASB has an initiative this year, is to getting trustees to become more active in social media to help them spread the good news. So while many of us are on Facebook, some of us don't tweet, and I would encourage you to attend some of the sessions at the TASB conference, and they will talk to us about how to be social media, and perhaps it's truly how to make a difference and spread the word about public ed. As a novice in Twitter, I have a Twitter account I follow. I'm very uncomfortable, but hope to get better as time goes on. So I always encourage you all to attend some of those. Thank you, Ms. Reed.
Mr. Medina?
I also want to not only recognize the first day of school, but the weeks before, our campuses and teachers and administration plan, very memorable Meet the Teacher Week. And personally speaking, for both my children attending, that was probably a highlight, because they were able to spend one-on-one time with the teacher and introduce themselves, and be right before the week before it begins. And so that's something I want the campuses who all participated in Meet the Teacher. As a convocation, I thought, the message, presentation was, above my expectation. I thought the children did phenomenal. It was an amazing message for our campuses, especially for our teachers that live in our district, so they'll understand where we're going, and from the growth to advocating for public education, and I got a lot out of it. I know our teachers did, and I thought the soul of the message was something that, and then our motto, Northside Strong, really kept in sync. And then lastly, last Thursday we had summer graduation, and we talked about during convocation our success in graduation rate, and I wanted to piggyback on that, because we had students that were still pushing strong to the very end of 2016. That was summer graduation, and I wanted to thank those families. Dr. Woods stresses out that it does take a village to raise a child, and all those that supported those students that had to go that extra mile and complete their diplomas as far as into the summer. And so I wanted to recognize those families as well. But again, thank you very much.
That's very well said. Thank you for bringing up the summer school, because that's, even though not a lot of them were there to walk across the stage, we know how many did graduate, and that's really good that they stuck with it and finished their education. Ms. Chumley?
Oh, I just, real quick, I wanted to thank some people that are here that had preparations in relation to the start of school, and since they're captive audience, we don't always get to thank them. Patty, thank you for doing an amazing job on filling our vacancies, just really outstanding. We have such quality teachers and have no summer at all because of all of this, but we really do appreciate it, and I really recommend that the superintendent give her 2 weeks during the school year for some comp time. He's not paying attention to me, but anyway, thank you so much, and please thank your staff as well for just doing an outstanding job. And James and Elizabeth, the talent at convocation, I don't know how our kids can get better. The fiddlers and dancers, oh my gosh, they were just amazing. Truly, truly amazing. We have such talented kids. And the next time when someone says something bad about public ed, I'm going to turn to you all to say, you know what, give us some stories, because these children were just truly amazing. You keep bar, I don't know how you do it, but thank you very much for doing that. I want to thank Stan because he has stayed on top of our gym. We are all very excited about it. Will be dedicated, I think, fairly soon.
November.
In November. And Stan, thank you, but everything that we had on the start of that project, to see it now almost finished is just beautiful. Just
Really coming along.
I know that it was very important for you to stay involved, and I know that took a lot of your time, but we really do appreciate what you did on that.
Yeah.
Pasquale, we're going to miss you. Just have to come back as a convocation consultant.
I have a whole list going.
But congratulations on making all of these school board meetings for, I don't know how many years, but it's going to be different to not have you back there. But we really appreciate you very much. And Joel Hernandez, he's in the back, he's hiding, but I just want to tell the board, I'm refurbishing a house, I'm renovating a house right by Glen Oaks now.
Oh.
So of course, all the neighbors in the community know about Glen Oaks being renovated. So whenever I'm there, they make sure that they're watering the yard at that moment. And I just want to thank Joel, because with the rain, I kept looking at that driveway and I kept saying, I have complete and utter faith in Joel. He's going to get that driveway done. And sure enough, he did. And I really appreciate that he stayed on top of it. And something I found out, which I didn't know that if y'all knew, that the bus, Rafael Salazar had the buses come out and do a mock run-through to make sure on how they were going to line up and how the kids were going to be loaded and offloaded. I thought that was pretty neat that he did that ahead of time, instead of waiting to try to figure that out. Anyway, so when Joel comes in, I just want to tell him thank you. And Brian, my daughter-in-law, before she was my daughter-in-law, before she married my son, was a Northside employee. And she actually was a teacher of the year. So she got convocation, and then she went to a teacher of year event as well, which Pasquale, her parents think that just does everything the very best. And so she's in a little bitty school district in South Texas right now. And so I said, well, what was your convocation like? She said, well, all 200 and something of them in the whole school district met school cafeteria, and they read policy. And I was like, wait a minute, there was no dance and there was no beach balls and anyway, so the contrast to to what we have, to say the least. You did a wonderful job. Thank you so much for representing us. We're just, Brian, there's so many ways that we are so thankful to our superintendent. So, thank you again. And Bobby, you got to do the one on push-ups. Thank you.
Mr. Blunt.
I want to, I know some of you get a lot more accolades and thank you, but I want to really have some time on my report just for Pasquale. And I'll tell you two reasons related to sort of our board function and our board meeting also. The first reason being that since I've been on the board, I know Melissa and Katie been on a lot longer. This board, and I assume prior to us even coming on, has always put full trust, to speak for the board as well as for the district. And knowing other districts across the state and in San Antonio, you just don't see that anywhere else. So it speaks highly of him. The second thing is, no matter what state, when you mention your north side, board meetings, wherever else we were at, they said, "Oh, you're the ones with Pasquale." The assumption being that we were a great district because we had Pasquale. Now, some others may have helped a little bit, but so I know there's more to come. But it's really been an honor, and you've been, just to put it lightly, very, very good for all of us. So thank you again, and that's all I have.
Okay. Pardon me, Mr. Lopez.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to kind of piggyback off of what everybody else has said in particular, but I did want to talk about one thing before I do. You know, I did have a chance to attend the rally, the Block Walk rally. That was an event that happened on August 15th, and that was something at Holmes High School. And the opening day, like the first day of opening, school, they too had that rain out, so it was difficult for them to go out there, knock on doors. I had attended it last year. I wasn't able to attend it this year, but it was really good to see the Holmes campus and the feeder schools really go out there and remind the kids, hey, don't forget to get your vaccination. Don't forget to do the necessary things that you need to do to make the first day of school a success. And that was a reminder to the parents. So I thought that was very good. Dr. Woods, it really turned out very well. I was excited. The teachers were excited as well. And Katie gave a few words that really kind of pumped them up. And so I thought that was very well done. And my hat goes off to Ada and her staff and all the other principals that supported that. So it was good to really see that again. I was very proud of that. And as well, going on to the summer graduation, Mr. Medina said I thought that was a very big success for those students that achieved their goals and they made it in the summer. It really doesn't matter that they couldn't make it in the beginning of the year. I think the fact that they just made it, I think that was just most important, and that was a milestone for them. So I was really glad to see that. Convocations, James and my. I really wasn't trying to, but it just so happens my wife, Elizabeth. I'm so used to calling her Lisa, but Elizabeth, y'all did a great job. Fantastic. We are so, I can see why, Northside, we have a good participation in the arts department. It's because of your leadership, your teachers as well. You've got phenomenal teachers. That was evident in one of the awards that Dr. Woods mentioned about Mrs. Aguirre, the
dance.
Brandeis, dance team. So, it's evident. We can see why, this district is growing, and especially in the arts as well as in the science and engineering as well, but particularly in the arts, that's a big jump. So I'm very proud of what we're doing with the arts department, and that's because of y'all's leadership. So, and will I get that $20 when we get home? Just kidding.
She might fix dinner.
Yeah, she'll unlock the door for me. But thank you very much. And Pascual, there's a lot to say. I mean, it's bittersweet for me because I've known you before I was on the board, but it is so true. I mean, I hate to, I'm coming on here, I get to work with you. You've been so helpful with me, and you've been patient with me on those videos and in the cafeteria. Just relax, Gerald, just relax. And I'm like, I'm trying to. But thank you very much for what you have done for the district and, the years of service that you have to our kids here at Northside. It really is I'm going to miss you, and just going to miss it. So thank you very much what you've done. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, board members. I guess we have pretty much covered the whole scope of things here, so I won't elaborate anymore on some of it, except about our godfather of PR, which, in case you all did not see the slide, he was on there as the poster child for the Godfather film, and it was just. I mean, I guess you probably did too. Every time it was mentioned and that you were leaving and everybody got up and applauded. It was just fantastic. We want you to certainly stay in touch with us, and we'll have more words to say next week. So, but I did want to mention that we not only started school this week, but a couple of weeks ago we started volleyball season already. 2 weeks ago? And now the football season is starting, so it has been. Now you have to remember, volleyball comes first. um, but football probably has the higher recognition. I want to remark on the pact that all of your coaches had to sign, that you developed for all the coaches to know their expectations, our expectations for them are. I think it's a great document. I wish other schools would follow those guidelines because it is really remarkable. So thank you and keep up the good work. And I guess we'll have enough parking place for the football games, right? Okay. Well, yeah. So thanks to the rest of the remarks. And since there are no more recognitions or reports, we will go to the consent agenda. And I've actually to have, since there are people watching our board meetings now on uh, whatever you call it, and anybody can watch it even later or live as well. Want to make sure everybody understands what we're doing, and there item on here I asked to have some explanation made. So Mr. Wrestling is going to do that for us, and it's item D, what the fund balance resolution.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Typically, this item does get presented on the consent agenda, and we appreciate the opportunity to talk about it in a little more detail. What this item is the board action we bring annually as it relates to our fund balance designations. Specifically, what we're asking the board to do here is to approve the resolution as it's written, specifically on the committed fund balances. These are committed at the board level. We do carry three in particular. We do carry the technology allotment, which the board committed $25 million to, and we're spending that down through time. We also, as we build new buildings, the board will commit significant amount of dollars to open up the new schools. And what you see in that resolution is actually the balance of the 10,010 projects plus the full amount from the 2014 projects. And the last item that we do ask the board to commit in this resolution is the amount that we set aside for future state deficits. This is, as you well know, a topic when we talk about our financial forecasting and as we move down through the years. So you're seeing that amount in this particular resolution in excess of $76 million, and based on our forecasting, which again you're probably very familiar with at this point, we actually will start our spend down of that particular commitment. And with that, I'd be more than happy to answer any other questions.
Any other questions on any of the other items on the consent agenda? Mm-hmm.
I think that we need to be good neighbors, and so I don't have any concern with us working with the health department, but I do have a question about the interlocal agreement that we have. And I'll preface it that when we had during Katrina, our facilities were used, and the cleanup wasn't done very well. And we actually ended up at one point having kids and teachers trying to clean out I've gone completely blank, what do we call it? The Vickery Center. Our multi-use building out there, because there was a function, and they ended up having to clean it up, which I found was inappropriate. And so I just want to make sure, and I do see in here that we have that the city will be responsible for any cleanup, but I think that was in our agreement with, I don't know if it was with the city or was with Red Cross. That was in that agreement as well, and we had problems with it, so just, I don't know what kind of teeth there is in this agreement. And then the other piece, I just need one of y'all please to clarify this with me? Because it says, this agreement will go into effect only if a public health, I'm on the top of page 2. A public health emergency is declared by the health authority for the SAMHD, and classes are either not scheduled or are canceled in the event the governmental entity is an independent school district. So does that mean that if the health department declares a public health emergency, that they would be able to authorize us to cancel school?
No. What that means is the only way they would have authorization to use the facility is if they declared a public health emergency or if classes were canceled on our accord, by our decision making. So it's an or, not an and. They don't have the authority to.
Okay, that was the only thing, is
Close
I just wanted to
facility.
make sure that no one, by signing this, that we weren't agreeing that another entity would be able to authorize us to close our school if they declare a public health emergency on
That's
that.
our decision.
And there are more teeth in the agreement for the.
I honestly, I don't recall what the Red Cross agreement said, back at that time. There is language in this agreement pretty clear language about who's responsible for cleanup if that were necessary.
Well, and it just worries me because if let's say we have a public health emergency and they're giving vaccinations, then we're going to be talking about, disposable syringes and medicines and things that we would not want to have any of our employees or our children or anyone in contact with. So that's the only thing, is just if we can, kind of make sure that we feel comfortable that everyone understands what their responsibilities will be in that event.
Okay.
And I just keep thinking of that Zika virus and whatever else could come around.
So I don't know that that's a health, that doesn't fall into this kind of category.
No, but I'm just thinking, Katie, who knows? I mean, it's
Hopefully it doesn't.
yeah, it's scary with the viruses and things that are out there. So,
Okay.
all right, that's it. Thank you.
So do we hear a motion to approve the consent?
Approve the consent agenda presented.
Second. I see no other questions. All those it has been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to citizens to be heard. Citizens to be heard. Okay, so we are ready for citizens to be heard. Citizens to be heard is important and meaningful, and we will listen to what you have to say. We value your opinions, although we are restrained by law from taking any action. So your time is limited to 3 minutes, and at 2 minutes, Dr. Harrell will hold up the yellow, and at 3 minutes, she will hold up the red, and at that point, we ask you to wrap up your remarks. So at this time, we do have one citizen that has signed up, and it's Gabriel Lara. Come forward, please. And state your name for the record.
Gabriel, last name is Lauda. First of all, I want to thank y'all for the jobs y'all do. I have my daughter who graduated from Holmes High School in 2000. She's now superintendent over in Jacksonville, one of the school districts out there. So throughout the years, y'all have done an excellent job. And now I've got a 10-year-old who's in 5th grade. Miss Chumley, I don't know whether you remember me or not, but we worked together in PALS back in Oak Hills Terrace. I think we started it there.
Well, I kept looking at you and I
No.
was thinking,
So we go
okay,
back a
this,
few-
this face, that looks familiar.
We go back a few years.
Few years.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And what is your daughter's name?
Annalisa,
Annalisa.
same last name, Laura.
Laura.
But she's doing quite well. Thank you very much. Again,
That's great. A
thank y'all.
superintendent. That's
thank y'all.
amazing.
So, anyway, I'm running for county commissioner and for precinct 1, and one of the functions of the county commissioner is to get our roads fixed in and around the schools, of course, and make sure that our kids have a safe way and our parents have a safe way to get our kids to school. And as county commissioner, I want to make sure that that's addressed, particularly out in the county where the infrastructure seems to be slow to respond at times. But
basically, that's all I had. I just came here to introduce myself and what I was doing, and then say hello to Ms. Chumley, because it's been a few years.
Yeah.
But,
Where's Precinct 1? Is that the
Precinct 1.
southwest?
Southwest and northwest. It extends all the way from downtown South Preston to the county line, up Highway 90 across to Callahan to Calabria and out to the county line. It's huge.
Wow.
It's a huge precinct. But,
Okay.
You've got a lot in Northside.
yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we live out in West Bexar County, and for 2 of the schools just opened up. Again, my 10-year-old's in the 5th grade at Edmund Leake. Beautiful campus, just awesome. It just amazes me what y'all have done with the schools and how it's just beautiful. But
And
again,
you haven't raised the taxes in a long time.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank y'all. Thank y'all very much for bringing me up. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And that was the only person we had that signed up under citizens to be heard. So, we are now ready to talk about curriculum and instruction.
Yes, ma'am. Tonight we bring to the board for your consideration a waiver around what's called accelerated instruction for 5th and 8th grade students. 5th and 8th grade students who do not pass the 3rd administration of the STAR test in reading and math must be by statute offered accelerated instruction. What the statute indicates is that has to happen prior to beginning or promotion to the next grade level. It has been our practice since that statute was created to offer those students accelerated instruction once they entered that grade level, whether it was they were retained and stayed in 5th and 8th grade or they moved on to the next, but we must have a waiver in order to access that. This year was a little different in that the commissioner actually canceled the 3rd administration, you may recall, of the STAR test for 5th and 8th grade, so a little different situation this year. This is a waiver that we have accessed on a regular basis through the years, and we would ask for your approval.
Any questions from the board? No? Do I hear a motion?
I move approval.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, just trying to sort things out here. Just a second. The next item on the agenda is facilities. Facilities and operations.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. We have a couple of presentations to make to you today. The first one is the schematic design presentation for the Northside Activity Center, the NAC. And of course, this was part of the 2014 bond program. And as you will know, and certainly the person right behind me can attest to
She has
that,
lots of smiles on her face.
busting at the seams, and she needs help. So we rushed to help her. The scope is primarily to add more meeting spaces, and however, we are considering the renovation of the existing meeting spaces, and we're going to take those as alternates, and the architects will explain that explain the whole concept with you here in a few minutes. So I have Mr. Richard Sanchez, architects, Mr. Richard Sanchez, and the presentation is going to be given by Mr. Tom Sanchez.
And for those of us, those that are listening and watching and those that are here, the building committee has already seen all of these and looked at it in depth, but for those that were not here, we will have this presentation.
First of all, I want to thank you for allowing us to present
Thank you very
the
much for
proposed new
everything
building
that you
addition
did really well.
and renovation options for the NAC facility. As you can see, the NAC as it stands right now is right here. And recently the district had purchased a parcel of land between the Wendy's and the back of the property. We decided that this would be a great place to add the square footage that the facility currently needs. A little background is the facility was first constructed in 1986,
And at the time, I believe the school district served 44 schools. And as of 2015, late 2015, 76 schools. So you're about at 120 campuses right now, at least. And as a matter of fact, y'all opened up some schools, as we heard earlier. So we feel that the square footage that's needed to help the scheduling for all the teacher and professionals in service would be greatly needed. So basically, you see in the blue right here is the proposed addition, and we will be adjusting a little bit of parking as a consequence of the added square footage, but we believe it fits really nicely within the constraints of the property. The floor plan, well, let's start at the front door of the existing building. As you come in through the entrance, you have the meeting spaces that have been serving the district since 1986. We did a little bit of renovation in 2003 that added doors to the outside that helped the meeting spaces function a little bit better. As we come down the hallway, this exterior door right here, which leads to the outside, will be the focal point for the new building. As we come down this hallway, we will come into a little entry lobby and immediately can go into the grand space, or we can come from the side to individual meeting spaces. Of course, the support areas, storage, restrooms, a resource room and a conference room, along with a small break room for prepping refreshments for the day's events, will also be included with this. You'll see up in here is some mechanical work that we are planning to do. The existing chillers for the buildings are getting pretty close to the end of their lifespan. And so we have decided, that it would be good to go ahead and replace these chillers. Being that this building functions year-round, we would hate to have this brand new building and the next summer the air conditioner goes out. So we have budgeted for replacing the existing chillers to service both the existing building and the new building. Here are the elevations, and the elevations are basically going to complement the renovations that we did in 2003, where we added windows and decorative CMU cladding to give a little flavor to the NAC. And we intend, if approved, to continue that style and cladding.
What is CMU?
CMU is the block that we use in our schools. We use interior block, and for the outside we've used a decorative CMU. It's like a furnished block. It is not split face. It is actually a much more durable and penetrable cladding. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yeah. And the decorative, yeah. Yeah, and it comes in colors for your selection. So, and you can see the existing elevation. This is the Culebra Street elevation, and right here is the existing building, and then right at the edge of the building we start the new building addition right here. And what you see right here is an egress door. It's not necessarily a regular door to enter the building, but it's a code required egress door. And here is the end elevation. And then of course this is from looking at the front of the building from the parking lot. You can see a little bit of the elevation beyond. And here's a shot of what the new building will look when it's built. And as you can see, the existing facades right here are being picked up within the new building. And it gives a little bit more of a seamless presence, almost as if they were built together. Here is a picture of the large assembly space. And just to give you an idea, the new assembly spaces, if we can go back to the floor plan, 2 slides. New existing meeting spaces, when open in the grand setting, actually give you about 300 square feet more than what you have in this shaded area. So we are actually more than doubling the capacity for
the NAC Center. And right here, we are providing a receiving and, yes, ma'am.
Go back, on the page where you're showing what the interior rendering is,
Yes.
we haven't talked about anything on the floor.
Mm.
Just that for just aesthetic, oh, yes, it's just for the picture, and all the finishes will be decided by,
Yeah, we'll come back to do the colors, and that's when we look at patterns and things of that nature, so in case you want to change it.
that's not.
you are not improving
We're not
the
approving the actual
interiors.
patterns or the interior or the exterior of the building, just a conceptual idea of this is how it's gonna come together.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be back.
All right, thank you.
And this particular shot is one of the individual meeting rooms. The operable partitions will come with magnetic surfaces, integrated marker boards, and marker and eraser storage. That was something that was really requested by the users for flexibility of the space. And
Okay, I'm sorry, thinking, so those are all what you're talking about just now from a technology standpoint.
Mhm.
It's just basic what's gonna be in there because we're pricing out all
Yes.
The technology
all the
later.
all the technology
Correct.
for, what do we call it?
The audio visual and the technology that goes in that building, we have 3 levels. We have what we commonly know as a low level, which is what we have now. And then the next, there's a medium or the middle, which is enhance what we have now to make it more cohesive. And then we have a high level, which is audio conferencing, a multitude of different things. We're gonna bid every one of those out so that we don't have this.
What were you talking about?
now with
Is it basic
The basic.
stuff that we?
This is all-
This is the walls.
If we just did, well, no, he's talking about whiteboards and.
But it's integrated in the wall.
Yeah, the whiteboards are gonna be the basic, that's in the project.
yeah, you're going to get that no matter
No matter what, it's just, it's a minimum, but we're talking about the technology level to.
Is
we're
later.
above
That will be later.
We'll come back on that.
Yes, and that will, when we bid, we'll come back like we do most of the time, and then look at it all pieces, and see what we can do, what we'd like to have, and still have discussions, with the user, with Diana, and make a recommendation and go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if you could go to the next slide, please. What we have here are some optional work for pricing. As you know, the facility is 30 years old, and some of these meeting spaces are starting to show their age. The operable partitions are not very soundproof as they used to be. The seals have given out. And one thing that we did discover in this building is that these walls that you see that separate the meeting spaces do not go to the ceiling. They actually stop just above the ceiling. And what that does is allow sound transmission from room to room to be heard. And it literally just goes over the ceiling and over the wall. So to mitigate that, we are proposing a price option to take these walls that you see here and to extend them to the deck, and therefore isolating the space above the rooms and taking care of some of that transmission. That's part of it, of taking care of all the sound problems in here. The other part is taking these mechanical units, one right here and one right here, and this one right here, and relocating those to the roof. And part of the problem is, if you've ever been in the NAC, and I know you have, that mechanical droning noise that is constantly present. We learned to block it out. But if we were going to isolate these and not address the mechanical units, the droning would just be even more apparent. So it's almost like a two-step process. And mechanically get these things up on the roof, reduct the spaces for airflow to the rooms, and then extend the walls to the deck. In addition to that, we want to price new partitions. They're not cheap. And we're looking at resurfacing and we're looking at replacing. And if the pricing is there,
it may be something to be considered by the district. So, again, these are just options. They weren't part of the base bid, and just something that we wanted to provide a price for and let y'all make a decision at that point.
Because that's one of the alternate bids, right? So we have the
Yes,
alternate bid on the technology, we have the alternate bid on the thingy, partitions, and then we have the alternate bids on that panel up to the roof for a noise blocker.
Yes, ma'am.
All the noise proofing. So those are our three alternates that we were talked about that we were gonna put. Was there one more? But those were the three I thought. Oh, and moving the AC from down to up on the
To
roof.
the roof.
Bring you a menu of options along with costs to consider.
And
Right,
also,
but those, I'm just trying to remember, it's awful, I don't remember 2 pages in here, and Brian says it was
Yeah.
at the meeting, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't remember it, so.
Well, I
just
think
wanted
there
to
was
make
one
sure.
meeting that you weren't there, so, yeah,
thought that
we
was-
may have talked about it, but,
yeah, and one more option that we are gonna add that I want you to know is that
awning.
we're gonna see about providing some weather protection at the front door, air
Some awning?
awnings, rain. Yeah.
One of the things we have is when we have a driving rain, because the soffit of it is so tall, water just hits those doors, and when they're open, the water just comes in. So we're trying to provide something a little bit further out to protect those doors. And that's a standard for Northside. We protect all doors, no matter if it's a school, they gotta be recessed in or awnings or something, so that we don't have that problem of, no matter how good a maintenance you have, the seals will always wear out. It's just a standard that we've adopted.
okay.
Katie, if I could for just a second, I just wanted to share with the board, when these original plans came to us, there were a lot of questions and changes that the building committee had asked for. And I just want to commend Mr. Sanchez, for being so easy to work with and coming back and really accepting and adopting and making, our concerns yours, and really coming back with what I think is just a really tremendous design. And you took everything that we said to heart. Not all architects do that, so I just really want to thank you, for doing that. And I think your design is great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Madam-
great.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Would you like to make the motion?
Sure, I move that we accept the schematic design for the renovation for NAC.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the schematic design for Northside Activity Center. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, and thank you so much. And Mr. Sen, we're going to take somebody out of order here, okay?
Okay.
Because we have an important guest with us. It's not very often we have state senators that just pop into our meetings, so, Mr. Senator Menendez.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Good.
Doing
It's
good.
to see
Well, I would have
you.
been here sooner, but a couple of accidents on I-35 kept me from getting here any sooner. We had a full day in Austin. We had a interim hearing on cyberbullying, which was very, very interesting, and it's one of the first steps, I think, for us to get some policies, and it was good. And I want to thank Superintendent Woods for his involvement so far. I had a meeting with all the superintendents, and he's had a chance to review it and look at it, and we want to make sure that what we do helps schools, doesn't do anything to give you any more unfunded mandates or any more blame or anything like that. So it's good to see so many of you friends here and people I've worked with over the years, many years. And but today I come to oppose one of your items on your agenda. I'm strongly opposed, and I already told him. I said, Pasquale, I refuse. We can't lose Pasquale, and we're going to oppose to the direct. But all kidding aside, I want to thank you, and some of you may or may not know, but I have a resolution here that I want to present to Pasquale for everything that he's done. So
Come on up.
come on up, Pasquale.
Come on up.
So,
It's not over yet, is it?
Yeah, more to come.
More to come.
so let us here. The state of Texas resolution, whereas Pascual Gonzalez is retiring as the Executive Director of Communications for Northside Independent School District in San Antonio in August of 2016, concluding a notable career in education span nearly 4 decades. It's hard to believe.
It is. I feel it.
Whereas Mr. Gonzalez holds a bachelor's degree in English and journalism from Southwest Texas State University and a master's degree in educational management and leadership from Our Lady of the Lake University. He began his career with Northside Independent School District in 1977. Wow. 1977.
Don't rub it in.
I'm just sitting here going, where were we in 1977? Yeah, no, I was born. After.
Oh my gosh, Pascual.
Yeah, we know each other very well. After teaching English at Jones and Hobby Middle School and Holmes High School, he served the district as Assistant Director of Public Information for a decade, and then as Executive Director of Media and Technology Services before being named Executive Director of Communications in 1990. In that role, he's been responsible for keeping the public informed about the news and events related to the 4th largest school district in the Lone Star State. And Pascual, it hasn't always been easy, and you've done a phenomenal job taking care of the school district and the families that reside within Northside School District. Active in his professional community, Mr. Gonzalez has held a variety of leadership positions with school public relations associations and at the state and national level, including serving as president of the Texas School Public Relations Association, which presented him with its 2014 Key Communicator Award. He was recognized as the 2005 Public Relations Professional of the Year by the San Antonio chapter of the Public Relations Society of America, and was named a front runner by the National School Public Relations and a mentor to others in the field. And he's widely regarded as a knowledgeable resource on issues affecting education. And whereas through his commitment to the highest ideals of professionalism, Pascual Gonzalez has greatly contributed to the mission of Northside ISD, and he may indeed reflect with pride on a career well spent as he embarks on the next and I hope exciting chapter of his life. So now therefore be it resolved that Pascual Gonzalez be congratulated on his retirement from Northside Independent School District, even though I object, and that he be extended sincere best wishes for the future. Signed by your friend, State Senator Jose Menendez.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sure, of course. Let's turn around, take a picture. Come on. Get over here.
That is very nice. Wait.
All right.
They were up here. Do not be sorry. We are pleased. Great job. Thank you, Senator, for coming.
Thank you
so much.
And I just want to say, recently, Brian, or Superintendent Woods, there have been some situations where it hasn't been easy, and you've done such a good job of keeping us informed of what's going on. And then with the issues, I mean, y'all are so easy to defend. Recently, when there have been questions about the bond process, the way you do it, and you include the community, and you make sure that every part of the district is receiving something, that they're aware of it, and there's a community involvement on the front end, is going to hopefully make things better, as I'm going to argue against what I see as some unnecessary potential legislation that's on the horizon. And so I want to thank you all because you've all been so upfront and clear and direct, and including the community in the whole process. And so you're a role model, and it's I'm proud to represent you all in Austin. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Well, that was very special.
That was very nice.
Come back and see us again soon, Senator.
That's a
Okay.
hard act to follow. But I'll try.
Well, I don't know. The next agenda item is also special, so.
That's right. And talking about bond programs, again,
Yes.
this is the 2014 bond program provided for renovations at Paul Taylor. And primarily, there were two basic scopes. First was to address ADA issues, which, become challenging, have become challenging and the second one is to clean the exterior of the building, give it a kind of a facelift. So Roy Lewis with Garza Bomberg is here to give us a presentation. Roy?
Good evening.
Evening.
With me tonight is Ramiro Ramadan. He's handing out. As Leroy stated, our primary goal on this project is to bring the to accessible standards. As you know, this building was designed in 1972, and long before any of the state laws or accessibility issues were ever addressed. On the site, let's start with the site plan. You have your existing handicap parking along the front. You have adequate parking there. However, you have a 7-foot elevation difference at the front terrace of the Paul Taylor, as well as elevated exits on both sides. What we're proposing to do is create a series of sidewalks and ramps that would get you up on both sides of the main terrace level, as well as access the exits so that everyone exiting this building, handicap exits, can make their way back to the front parking spaces. Also, we're showing along the backside, currently the football officials from Gustafson Stadium come at halftime and before the game, and they use the facility as a lounge or meeting place before they go back on the field. They are currently cutting through a boiler room, which is not ideal, and so we are proposing to provide them a space on the other side of the building. That's what we're just showing with that route. This is the main floor level. As you come up on this terrace, we would come in to the building. The building currently does not have vertical access between the two. A handicapped person would have to come outside on the lower level to get up, and again, there is no accessibility to the main level floor. So we are proposing to put an elevator in the center of the building. It would occupy the space that was vacated by an old ticket booth. We would then create 2 ticket tables on either side of the entrances so that you could have a controlled entry into the space, as similar to what you do currently for the facilities. There were 2 accessible viewing positions at the front here. They were on wood platforms. They were not legal, and we are proposing to take those out and then redevelop this front entry, which I'll discuss here in a few minutes. If you arena this size would require, just in the stands alone, 24 viewing spaces. What we're proposing to do is create an accessible viewing spot along the front edge of the structure. We would then come and take out the concrete steps in these 2 center aisles and then create a ramp that would connect you to the main plaza level underneath the stands. We also propose to get rid of the old bleachers that are on the court level and replace them with newer pre-molded retractable bleachers that have the accessible viewing positions built into them. This building, the original load calculations were based on 18 inches. However, we've done our calculations based on 22 inches, which was more realistic to the way the district uses the facilities. And we will have some reduction of viewing spaces, but we feel like it's a good trade-off with the number of accessible viewing positions that we're going to gain. These are the 2 ramps that on either side that we are proposing to use. You would come down so that you have a clear path to these positions at the main lobby floor level. We are also proposing to add toilet rooms. You currently only had 4 women's toilets on either side. In doing such, we felt like we could not bring these spaces up to handicap standards because we would be losing too many fixtures. So we proposed to add 2 facilities on either side of the gym. This would then increase, for instance, the women's toilets from 4 on either side up to what would we have? Up to 10 on either side. This is just showing you a section. We looked at the sight lines, and the location of viewing positions would not affect the viewing from the spectators above them. We also show the connectivity of the main concourse plaza to the viewing platform at this location.
Hang on just a minute. Karen, did you have a question about something we've already talked about?
I can ask it now. Regarding where we take tickets and money, did you say there's an enclosed area? I know we're always conscious about where we count money and what happens at the table. Is there an area there that we...
In this design, Ms. Freeman, there's not an enclosed area there, but we are proposing an area in the office area for that purpose where the safe would be located and so forth. So they are dedicating a space to that purpose.
Okay, I just wanted to ask.
And you would have the elevator right adjacent to those tables that they could go downstairs and go into that room almost directly.
Okay.
This is just a rendering of the area that shows the new ramped openings. We do plan to replace all of the guardrails and railing systems on it, as well as we're going to keep the original bleachers in the stands, but we are going to cover them with a pre-molded plastic cover in order to dress up the space and add some color to it. Going to the lower level, the court floor, the primary renovation below is at the dressing rooms, where we will tear out a portion of the existing gang showers in order to make the toilet rooms a little bit larger in each of the dressing areas. We will also add a handicap shower within the gang shower area. We'll still have the gang showers, but they'll just have a fewer number of fixtures in it. As I mentioned earlier, the officials, we're proposing the use of officials' lounge, which would be right in this area that was currently occupied by storage. With the new basketball arena coming online, much of the storage over at this area will be moved to the new facility. Therefore, we feel like we have room to put this new lounge in. This lounge would be used by both the football officials and other officials in this facility as a means with handicap accessibility. There are currently a couple of spaces for officials here, but they are very tight with low headroom and would be impractical to try to remodel. Coming on down, this is the main lobby. This is where your elevator access the main the top floor. We will renovate this reception area in order to put doors on either side so that we have controlled access from anyone who's in this lobby area. Off to the side, we have an area that was once a part of a reception area. Is being asked to be used as a training room, as well as the area that was vacated as an office to be a conference room. It was discussed at the building committee that it may not be preferable to cut through that room to get to the conference room. So we are showing a potential alternate of putting a wall to define a hallway to that room. However, we would need to, there is existing structure that we would have to put enough clearance that a wheelchair could get by there to get to that room. Therefore, that wall actually would be only limiting you to about 8'8" inside that room. which would be a little bit tight in there. Now we'll move on to the exterior of the building. The primary objective here, I'm sorry, what's your question?
Ms. Chalmers, did you have a question about that one?
Oh, I do, but I'll just wait because I've got
Okay.
a couple, Katie.
Okay, so does Mr. Lopez, so.
Yeah, I was just
You didn't push your
pressing.
button.
Oh, I didn't?
The exterior, we will do a thorough cleaning of the exterior facade, reseal the caulk joints, and repair any kind of cracks that have developed. The existing building has this brown band, stucco band around it in these locations, and we propose that we're going to paint that stucco to the green that is used throughout the Hardin complex, which is that Hartford green color that are on all the roofs of the new baseball fields, and even at Gus Stadium, there's a limited use of it as well. We are also proposing to add the north side logo that would be backlit on the front side. And on the back side, that where the back faces Gustafson Stadium, we felt like it would be a nice focal point for the logo to be in this area. We would propose to paint those existing metal panels green as well to blend in with the rest of the facility. I did want to point out that when we added those toilet rooms, they would be in these two locations on either side, which would blend into the way the existing building currently looks, so that it wouldn't look like an addition. One last thing that we were looking at was dressing up the front entry, and what we wanted to do was sort of have an inviting, more intimate space as you come in, so that it would open up to the large volume of the basketball facility. There were existing trophy cases along this area. What we're proposing to do is come in with some sort of a display. This is only a conceptual idea, but something that could be used to, it was discussed at building committee, but maybe instead of athletics, maybe being a tribute to veterans or one of the other notable things. As you come in, this would be your display areas. We also have areas for displays along here. There would be an open trellis type situation so that people inside could still see through the enclosure to the main gym area. And again, this is concept only.
And that's in a larger area than what we currently have, in case some of you didn't realize that.
Yes, yes, and we can go back to the floor plan if you want to see that.
It's about twice as much space, isn't it?
Yes, it goes the full length from door to door of those exterior doors. Are there any questions?
I had a couple. Well, there were a couple. Mr. Lopez?
Yeah, Roy, thank you very much. I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Roy. Leroy, can I talk to you real quick about I'd like to go to page 3, I believe. It's the design where you have the restrooms. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Can you remind me what we talked about when I had asked about one of the concerns I had about that design with the restrooms was in the event that we have a busy, or let's say it's a packed house, what were we going to do with the issue of a line where if there were men wanting to get into the restroom and there was a big line, what were we going to do with that again? Can you remind me what we had talked about? The queuing.
To be able to move people around. The fact that we now have 2 restrooms, of course, gives us more opportunity to have that line a lot shorter because we doubled the fixture capacity.
Right.
So that has helped us tremendously.
Because we'll have them on each side, right?
Right.
But trying to put queuing in there at least to try to get them into and I think that would only happen when we have the larger groups.
Right. Like yeah.
Or possibly playoff games, I guess.
So we would have to go in there and do some queuing to be able to help,
move the people forward.
in and out of the facilities. But just the fact that we have double the capacity, over double the capacity of fixtures is really difficult for us.
And that's not, and that's just like a once, every so often, and I realize that, but I wanted to at least recognize that y'all did, think about that and
There were two
everything.
reasons why the restrooms were added. One, of course, is a code issue because there is absolutely, well, it would be very difficult to renovate the existing spaces to bring
Right.
up the code. So it's not easier if we just go add.
Yeah.
The second one is to increase the capacity of the fixtures because all this time we have
Right.
had those issues with one restroom,
Right.
so to speak, on either side of the complex that presents a problem, especially when people are trying to get into the concession stand, which is in the middle,
Right.
and then trying to get to the restroom to the other side.
Right.
So this should help Mr. Moniz to move the traffic a lot faster.
No, I think what you guys did, Roy, what you all did was great. I'm very pleased to see with what's going on as far as bringing up the facility itself, and putting some color on it and redesigning that. I'm really excited to see the trophy case. I know that's conceptual, but I think that really adds a lot to this old facility and just bringing it back to life. And it has been used, several times over, and I'm glad we're starting to pay attention to, we're giving that facility a different look, or a modern look. So I really like what you did with it, Roy, and what you've done with that design, and I'm looking forward to seeing it, materialize in the future.
We will have a follow-up conversation on what that space in front,
Sure.
we call it the display case, but we'll come back because we need suggestions and so that we can start getting ready to do
Yeah, I
some
think-
conceptual ideas and share that with the.
I think some of the suggestions that some of the board members have made are very good suggestions, and, so just wanted to say that. Thank you very much, Katie, appreciate it.
But this is conceptual.
Yeah,
Right.
this is conceptual.
schematic.
Right,
To
right.
come up
I
with.
know, but I'm just.
Ms. Chumbley?
I just had a couple of questions, Roy. Okay, first one, with the display cases, what is the back of its construction?
The
So
back
what is so
On the
if I'm
court
sitting,
side.
if I'm sitting on the court and I'm looking up to that back of that display,
Yes.
what is that made out of?
Well, when we do it, we will do it with a durable product, whether it be a veneer plaster or something like that, something that when basketballs hit it and things like that, it won't damage it. It's got to be durable.
Basketballs get up that high on the
Good.
back of that?
Volleyball, for
The
sure.
reason I wanted to ask what it was is because at the new gym, we're going to have the recognitions of the different schools in those display cases. Would that be possible, whatever that material is, if we came back during the color phase and wanted to say we wanted the school emblems on the back of that?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just didn't know what kind of material it was.
We left it blank because we didn't know if it was going to be a distraction for the basketball players as they're shooting baskets. So we kept it.
I kind of like that idea, so just that we can come back and talk about it.
Exactly. When we do colors is when we bring all the interior suggestions that we like to propose. I know that right now, if you look at the opposite wall, you have all the banners. And so
Oh, see,
And
I was
they're-
trying to
And they're
remember
up
where
higher.
the.
They're up higher, so
Are
they're
they?
not.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
Katie, I couldn't remember if the banners were in there or not.
They're
That's what
all-
I was trying to.
they're on the far
It
wall.
just seems like kind of just a bare, big, white
And we could,
block.
Well, we may put a north side in or something like
Yeah,
that.
or maybe color it, or color.
we'll come, yeah, it's a blanket,
But see, it's much
Canvas,
lower,
we can do
so it's
whatever
in
we
the
want.
line of vision of the people that are playing.
Yeah, I
Whereas
couldn't
the other ones are
remember
way up by the
I
ceiling
couldn't
on the other
remember
side.
that we had that. I just wanted to make sure that we have the school banners or something on there. So I just had forgotten that. Okay, that.
We'll also get with Stan, because, I mean, he's got some ideas about what we need to put there as well, so we'll bring those back in colors, because that'll kind of solidify what we're thinking about putting up there, so.
Okay, and then I just wanted to share with the board, Roy, we'll turn to the page that has the training room. Okay, on the far right side, up, yep,
Oh, you're saying that this,
no,
sorry.
put the conference room, put where the conference
Right
room
there.
is. Okay, over on the right top. Can you put a
Here?
door there?
Here,
Yes.
that's a crawl space underneath the building.
It is. I couldn't remember. Brian and I were trying to remember
Yes.
what was by. So there's nowhere anywhere on that wall that you can put a door.
That would have been easy.
That,
There's
'cause when,
stairs there, there's a crawl space. We couldn't get into that space because we'd have been ideal.
yeah, that would have been perfect. Let me just share with the board and get y'all's feelings. I don't like how much room we've had to take for the training room. I was uncomfortable because the conference room, you have to walk through the training room to get into the conference room. And I was just thinking that when I've been to other school districts, sometimes when when they're doing a remodel, that they kind of, you do that sometimes where and it makes you feel like, well, they ran out of money. You know, where you walk through one room to get to another room. And I just really didn't like that there when we're investing so much money in it. However, taking off that much space for the training room is not acceptable either. So I think I'd rather err on having a larger training room and have us look like we ran out of money.
The idea, and Stan was one that was instrumental in first telling us we really need to dedicate a training room.
Yeah, and I know we need it, and that's the only one for that room.
The
for
connection point between the floor, the gym floor, and going right into the training room, because those trainers, they stand there and they look at their game.
Right.
Something is, they're right there. So that was one of his suggestions, is that we don't subdivide the space, even though we know we're going to have to go from a space
Well,
to
and I
space.
really wanted you, but Roy, that's too much. That's too much space gone from it. If we cut it down,
It is. See,
yeah,
there's a
it's a
column.
big sacrifice just to have that. So,
33 inches.
and I know Stan, yeah, and I know Stan wants the larger training room. So I was just gonna ask y'all if y'all are okay with it. I think we should go back to the original plan and.
Yeah, I'm thinking that they can probably put, like, if you have people, like, on the table, and you have to walk through there, they can have a screen up or something that will give them some privacy, if that's, you know.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. I just hated the thought of you having to walk from one room through one room to get to another room for a conference room. You know, because conference space in this school district is so.
So
you know,
we currently walk
short.
through the secretary's office space to get to Stan's office, right? So we're technically walking through
Well,
that space
yeah, I
already.
mean, it's the secretary's, but you've got the hallway. It would be
Yeah.
like if there wasn't a hallway, Katie, and we were walking through her office to get
Yeah.
into it. You know, I don't know. It just made me uncomfortable with it, but I wish you would have come up with a different plan.
It's hard to remake that building.
Trainers.
Yeah,
Unless
those
you put the
trainers, what can we?
training room on the other side somewhere, you
Right,
know.
and then I think we had a
Yeah, we
plan
had that
though.
conversation, though.
Yeah, and we had
That's
and we
not
looked at that and that.
Operationally not sound.
Yeah, and that's not a good idea, because then it forced us to limit us another space that we needed. So anyway, I just think we need to go back to the original plan and
So if
have the
it's
training
okay,
room.
We can make the approval contingent on not doing that option.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mr. Blunt?
Back to the original.
I kind of think so, if the rest of the board
Mr.
feels
Blunt
that
has
way.
comment. Mr. Strongman.
No, just I'm not gonna let that down.
Gonna must
Just
move
one,
on.
just one question. What's the schedule for this? Is it gonna impact athletics events, or is it?
So we wanted to have first and foremost the sports gym operational for at least 3 or 4 months. And I think the schedule is next
Beginning in March
March.
through August.
Got a
and-
downtime.
and-
That'd
and
be
try to
after
get it back
basketball
open in
season.
time for volleyball.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. That's all I had. Thank you.
I just had one, and it,
No
y'all,
summer
Oh,
graduation.
I'm
then,
sorry,
I
Karen
guess.
had a question too. Karen?
Yeah, Miss Reed, I pushed my button, actually, I guess prematurely after we got into the conversation about the alternate training room. I was going to ask what Stan's thoughts were.
he wants
On it?
the bigger training room, Karen.
Okay.
Yeah, he wants the bigger training room. I didn't realize that we'd lose so much space. I was thinking, you know, like just, I didn't realize we'd lose so
Yeah,
much.
I understand that. Okay. That was my question, and that was answered before. Thank you.
And Leroy, I don't know if you can answer this, and probably goes to Brian to go to Stan later, but Holmes Athletics, if we're moving a lot of the storage to the new gym, Holmes Athletics right now has multiple little buildings in different states of repair, all around their campus. And then we have some of those pods, but they're not the nice pods. They're kind of like the old sitting on the back of a tractor trailer pod at homes for storage, for athletic storage. So I would really like to see if, with the proximity of homes to this building, if we can't get rid of some of those on the campus and move the storage to,
We'll inquire.
yeah, if you will ask about that. So the next time y'all are in homes, take a look around the campus. There's these little bitty just
Back behind the
buildings.
gym?
They're, Katie, they're all over. They're by one field here, there's by another field in the back. There's this rusty old, tractor trailer pod for storage. I would really like to see us get rid of some of those if he has space.
Okay.
So, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Did you have another comment, Karen?
I did.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. While we were talking about that at Holmes High School, I to be very honest, I suspect we have those issues at other high schools. So let's not just focus on Holmes.
I was just thinking because proximity. Karen
Yeah,
was.
I get it. I get it. But let's, right? Let's
better
just
ones.
look at those at their other high schools too. Okay, thank you.
That's a good
Okay.
point.
Thank you, Roy. Any other questions?
That's
Do we hear a motion to approve the schematic design as altered, I guess?
No, the original has it without
It's not
the,
Okay.
the original.
As originally presented, okay?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the schematic design as originally presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
thank you
Roy.
very much.
Thank you.
Not an easy job to renovate old facilities.
I'll commend Roy because it was not an easy challenge to
I really wish you would have come up with it.
a building that was built in the 70s when we only had 4 high schools.
It
And I was in high school.
state-of-the-art
And I
at
was
that
in high
time.
school then.
It was kind of state-of-the-art at that time, I
It
think.
was.
Yeah.
The next presentation we have for security lobbies, as you know, the bond program provided for 30 security lobbies. And the next series of lobbies for next summer are being presented. There's 9 total: Adams Hill, Allen, Beard, Brown Station, Forrester, Hoffman, Knowlton, Timberwild, and Villarreal. So here is Mr. Asphalt himself, Glenn Oaks. I heard a rumor that he was actually laying the asphalt, but I never saw pictures of that.
Yeah. It looks pretty good.
Joel with Next Gen will make the presentation.
Part of the parking lot's ready anyway.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah,
I mean,
what's finished is not.
Good evening, Ms. Reed, members of the board, Dr. Woods. I have Raul Llanos with me here tonight, and we'll be presenting the 9 schools, and there's a lot of slides and a lot of info, as the building committee can attest, so we'll go through here pretty quickly, but feel free to stop me at any point if you have any questions. Adams Hill, much like the last ones, if you've seen the presentations, this is just kind of an aerial view, and one of the first things we do is we look at the perimeter of the site and see to make sure that it is compliant to your standards. So in this particular campus, we are here just some images in case you haven't had a chance to go to Adams Hill recently. These are the doors that will be coming through at the front, and then that is the office area that we'll be dealing with. Here's the existing reception desk, the existing office, and pardon the pictures, they were during summer, so everybody was in pack mode. Next slide. So on this one, we have the challenge as you come in, that if you go to the left, you go to the cafeteria. If you go to the right, you go to the administration, which we've had to deal with in the past. So there's another shot looking towards the cafeteria. So it presents an interesting challenge for us. Next slide. So what we're proposing to do is basically come in here. So this is the front entry. You would normally come in, you had this vestibule area. You'd go to the right to go to the administration and cafeteria. But now we're trying to secure that lobby and that entry point. So what we're proposing is basically to be able to relocate this and secure this so that we'd come in. You'd go through a vetting process at this point. If you're coming to the office, you would go in here and go to the waiting area, or if you were going into the cafeteria, you would go into the cafeteria. Here's just another image of the same thing. Next one is Jerry Allen Elementary School. Once again, an aerial showing the drop-off point, so you can see the bus loop, and then the parent drop-off or student drop-off on the right-hand side. As you can see on this one, we do have a small area here of non-compliant fencing, so we'll be taking care of that. And then here are some images of that campus. Which one? So here's the front desk. So in this one, we basically have a natural, so to speak, security vestibule. Our challenge then becomes is how do we ensure that we can do the vetting process and secure the school. Next slide, please. So pretty simple. We come in, we go through a vetting process here. If you need to come into the office, you actually come into the office, or you get buzzed in to go to the rest of the school. So this one had a natural kind of funnel design that made it relatively simple. And here's an enlargement of it. Next slide is Bob Beard Elementary School. Once again, just a quick aerial designating the front entry to the facility, bus loop, parent drop-off in the front. Here are the drawings. As you can see, there are no magenta on the drawing, so indicating that this school is all fully compliant to your current standards. Here's a front view of that facility. Basically what we're proposing in here, because we have much of the same challenge, although it's a newer school, the same thing of having another component that we go into the right as well as going to the left to the library.
Excuse me, Joelle?
Yes, ma'am.
On, not this one, but the prior one. Do you remember the conversation that we had about, we had another school similar to that where we had the 2 doors? And we said that we were concerned about it from a security standpoint, having the 2 doors. And we decided to change to just have the 1 door.
Okay, we can do
Do
that.
you remember? No, but do you? I'm trying to remember that conversation, and I can't remember which school it was. Is that
We
something?
talked about it on is it Knowlton and Timberwild?
Is that something that we need to be concerned about on this one?
If
Because
you
I
could go
thought we
back.
changed. I thought at that other
changed it on
school. I
Timberwild
thought at the other school we changed it
Knowlton.
from having the 2 doors to go down
Just one.
to just have the
To
one.
and we did that change. It's both on Timberwild and on Knowlton, but I don't remember it being on Beard, but we can certainly.
Well, I don't think it was.
Adams Hill.
It was
Uh,
the one
the
before.
previous
It's
one.
yeah. It's
On
the previous one.
It's Adams
Allen.
Hill.
This one?
Yeah, see this one, since we have the 2 doors, I thought that that was a similar situation where we said we didn't want the 2 because someone could come into the other when they were buzzed in.
Yes. Okay.
Wasn't that?
It wasn't at this one, but it certainly applies as well. So.
Well, I just wanted us to be consistent. So if we felt that it was enough of a security concern at campuses that had the dual doors, just is this something that we need
Yes.
to be,
It's probably a good idea.
do we need to do the same thing?
I mean, it would just be a matter of replacing this with simple storefront, because that's not even bullet resistant glass. The bullet resistant glass is the highlighted in magenta. So,
Those doors are typically locked. What we do is we open all the doors at the beginning of this, when kids get there. And then we just lock 2 of them, keep 1 open, so that's why we control traffic coming in to that security lock.
I just know that we didn't want to do that at the other ones though, and I'm trying to remember,
do you remember it in
I'm trying to remember why we didn't do that then.
I guess the thing I'd want to do before we agree.
We don't have to change it, I
To
mean,
drop
just-
down from 2 to 1 is let's go back and look at that one and make sure there wasn't something unique about that school's
Right.
design that led us in that direction more than just kind of a general desire
other one-
to go from 2 to 1.
You're right.
Yeah,
One
if
of the
y'all
other.
would, if
the-
y'all
I-
would just check on it, because
We
Okay.
can go back and look at that
Sure.
particular one.
'Cause the other one-
Ideally, you'd have 2 sets of
Yeah.
double doors coming in the main entrance of the school, right? I mean, that's the norm.
But we changed it at that other school
But at
for,
Bonnie Allison, what we do there, same concept. We have 2 sets of 2 doors, so to speak. We lock 1 and we keep 1 open as we come into that lobby space during school time, so to speak. And
But-
that's what funnels that in. So
Operationally.
well, if y'all don't mind, just
We'll
go
circle
back
back.
and
We will
and
look at
check
it.
that, because I just remember that conversation, but I don't remember
All the
why we would have changed
And
it.
the one I do remember, Knowlton and Timberwell in particular, and we'll see that in a minute. We also narrowed down the width that was a concern of both you and Ms. Reed. So we did change that a bit so that we narrowed it down. But we'll look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Continuing on with Beard, here's that entry. If you saw the previous couple pictures, there's a bench on the outside. We'll be removing that bench, and that'll be the accessible portion to that, because as you can see, we have the cafeteria beyond. So next slide, you'll see it's right in here. So when you come in, you have cafeteria to your right, admin to your left. And without infringing, unfortunately, we can't get into this space because the only way to actually create the vestibule inside would be to do it here, which would then take over that nurse's station as the only entry point into that administration, which is not a good idea. So we're proposing to push it to the outside, which we've done before, like at McDermott, and providing an ornamental gate to provide the security, as well as a mock storefront on the front of that building. Yes, sir. And we did it. I'll show you here some photographs that we did at McDermott, which was part of the first round of facilities. Next slide, please. So this is what we did at McDermott. This is actually a storefront that we added that's actually a non-conditioned space. And then we added the ornamental fence, if you take the next picture, which then secures the space on the adjacent side. So it's just a way of not having to deal with the idea of conditioning that space. It's not a structural slab, or there's some concerns that it might not be. So we just felt like this is just kind of the way that we've had to deal with it in the past with other campuses. Next one is Bronze Station. Once again, here we're indicating the main entry, and then the student drop-off, and then the bus loop. So as you can see here, we do have a couple of highlighted areas that are kind of sporadic throughout that will require us to upgrade fencing to provide the perimeter security. Here are some images of that facility from the front, and then us coming into that front door, and then into the office itself. Here's a view looking from the office back out, and then here is that entry foyer as it exists now. So pretty straightforward. We're just coming in, providing entry vestibule here. On this one, given that the office is already substantially below standard, what we're providing is actually taking the corridor space and extending the office, which would normally end here, and then creating the waiting and reception area of what was once corridor, and then providing the security lobby at this point. So you'd come in, check in, and then come into the office. And that way we don't minimize what is already a pretty small office.
So we've reduced it from 2 doors to 1.
Yes. Leon Valley is the other one that was modeled after it. So here's what we did at Leon Valley. So this one's actually just getting completed. So
And Leon Valley, we went from the 2 doors down.
Yes, and we also took over some of the corridor space.
Yeah, but
Yeah, they use the corridor space for the lot.
Right.
for
The reason we did that was mostly with regard to the office situation. We wanted to bump
Right.
out into the hallway to
Right.
create the vestibule so that you didn't reduce office space.
We weren't going to be able to take advantage of it anyway, and it just made sense to not make already a small office smaller. So you can see there's still equipment there, but basically it's going to be set up relatively the same.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When we reduce, and I'm still not following what schools we took, we had 2 doors and we reduced to 1. But not only do people go in, we carry things through these doors, and sometimes on the double doors, there's those middle bars that you take out. So I just want to be careful when we reduce to 1 door.
I remember why we did that.
The ones
That we're
that
not-
we have are removable.
All of the schools that we build have a removal mullion.
Right.
Which means that somebody has to physically go in there, take
Right.
the screws off, take that mullion.
Right.
So we can move supplies and parts and things like that.
Right.
So any one of these that shows double doors will probably have a removal mullion. You gotta have that mullion because it's gotta secure, the doors have to be secured somehow.
Right. And most of these, what we're trying to do is leave that exterior as intact as we possibly can, just to save money. Because it's not a secure.
I just wasn't following well when we were talking about reducing from 2 to 1. I was thinking that we were removing
Two
the...
sets of doors instead.
Two sets of double doors
Okay, thank you.
is what the question was. Nora Forrester. So as you can see, we have the front end is the asterisk, student drop-off, and then we have bus drop-off on the backside. As you can see, we don't have very many, or actually we don't have any issues with the perimeter security. Here's some images of the front of that school and then coming in. So this is from the center looking back out. So the office is right here to your right as you come in. And then here's just an image of the waiting area and then of the office itself. Okay. Somebody went crazy. Oh, the other thing I'd like to point out on this image is as you come in, we have a library to the left that we want to maintain access for. That was one of the concerns of the school facility itself. So in this one, we did address that concern. And basically what we ended up with is, this is another one of those situations where we have an existing conference room. So logically, we would want to put it up as close to the front as we could so that then we can make that security vestibule smaller. The problem is then that would provide the access at this point here, which would eat up our conference room, which we don't want to do. So on the next slide, please, you'll see our solution was actually to just go ahead and create basically an L shape so that we can maintain that conference room intact, which is needed, and move that reception area to here. So basically the person will come in, check in and be vetted, then come into the facility and either go into the waiting room or go into the facility itself. And once again, on this one, we left the front doors intact, but that's certainly something we can look at as well.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
The ceilings, the rise
I'm sorry?
the ceilings, how are they gonna be drafted? I guess
On
the
these that we have relatively high volumes, the way we've dealt with it is basically just provide a storefront that goes up, I think they're going up 14, 15 feet. So the idea is that
So it's gonna be open?
it stays open, yes, sir. We don't have a ceiling to these.
And that's consistent
and
with
that's
our new
consistent.
school construction of these as well.
Right. It began actually with Ellison, which was relatively high space, and it just,
The big volume of space at Ellison, we were going up to a certain spot that we knew that it would not, it would impede the, basically a shooter to shoot up, not necessarily
right,
ground level, so to speak. So we only go up to a certain level. This is the same thing with the,
correct.
because there's not a second story on this one, on that side.
Yeah, the second story is a little further back.
That's correct.
Further in the
Next one is John Hoffman. So the entry point is here. This is the student drop-off and then bus loop off on the side. As you can see, relatively new school, so that we don't have any issues with meeting the standards in terms of perimeter fencing. Here are some images of the front. Here's as you come in. Also, once again, 2 sets of double doors. Admin is to your left as you walk in, so this is looking at that office. So basically, we're taking up that small area in the front and providing a reception desk there so that the vetting can occur as soon as people walk in the door. You get vetted and then are allowed to come into the facility itself. And here's an enlargement of that. Next one is Knowlton Elementary School. Entry point is here with the student drop-off, and then we have a bus loop on the back side of the school. Here we do have quite a bit that we needed to add at the front of the school to provide the perimeter security. And here are some images of that school. This one has a rather large entry foyer. As you can see, there's some pretty big spaces there. So basically what we're doing is coming in here and providing a security vestibule. So we've reduced it to 1 door, so basically you'll come in, get vetted, and then come into the facility itself and either go into the waiting room or go into the rest of the facility. Originally we had 2 sets of doors. This is what we did at Esparza, which is actually being completed, or is complete. That's very similar in design. Next one is Timberwile, sister school to Knowlton. But you'll see, once again, student drop off here, bus loop on the back. We We had a little minor proposed new fencing that we're adding. Some images. Here's looking out at the front. It'll look very much like the previous one. So, pretty large entry foyer. Got the display K on the left. Okay, so once again, we're coming in right at that front area and basically providing that security vestibule here, coming in, vetting occurs here, then you come into the facility or into the waiting room. There's an enlargement of it. And the last one is of the FEI. So as you can see, student drop off here, bus loop off to the left. We do have a bit of fencing at the front, not very much, but we do need to replace some of that at the front to provide the perimeter fencing. Here's the front entry. Once again, this happened during the summer, so there were some maintenance projects going on that I understand are complete. So this one is actually like Meadow Village, where you come in and you have a corridor that allows you to either go one direction or the other, and then the office is actually directly in front of you at that point. So the solution is very similar. We're basically providing a large security vestibule there, and we provided doors on each end, and then basically a reception desk that the vetting occurs. So you come in, you get vetted, and then you're able to come into the office itself or into the remainder part of the campus.
How long is
And this
that
is,
vestibule?
I'm sorry?
How long is that vestibule? Looks huge.
Oh,
Three
I'd
sets
say
of
it's at
doors.
least 40 feet long, maybe a little bigger. And these are images of actually Meadow Village, which was completed in the first round. So as you come in, you can see those are the doors, and the volumes are the same as well. So they're sister schools. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions or comments.
Questions, anybody? No. You haven't had enough work to do yet?
I'm sorry?
Need more work to do?
Yes, ma'am. We're ready.
That's a lot of stuff that you're working on there. And
You gotta finish those first.
yeah. Well, and thank you for making sure that Glen Oaks was
It was our pleasure.
usable.
It was a team effort, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, it was everybody,
Yeah.
including the district. So,
Okay.
Yeah, but we had complete faith in you.
thank you.
So did we.
Dr. Harrell has a question.
Thank you.
No pressure.
Yes, ma'am.
And actually, this was more toward Leroy. I know this costs a lot of money. Is there any way we could just have one scanned in and we could look at it through our leaderboard so that this doesn't get used and thrown away in one day? I mean,
You're talking about the
yes,
book.
all of these.
We print these, kind of like the old school, because if that system goes down, I have something to give you, so you can follow where, that's really one of the reasons. And then, of course, we only need about 2 or 3 record copies for all 5.
Yeah, and then if they could be scanned, I'm just thinking it could save money, and I mean, I don't know, this already looks like maybe $200 or $300,
his
and
money, right?
Yeah, it
I
is
could go
money.
back.
It's your money.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
We will
But if we
recycle.
can talk, okay,
Sure.
thanks.
Thank you.
But I love
was
everything
thinking,
in it.
Leroy,
I
we
love
don't
everything.
print
you,
that.
Dr.
Joelle prints that.
Yes, that's why I said it's my money. It is my money.
Yeah,
It's
so
okay.
if you
It's okay, I'm
can-
happy to spend it. You guys are good to us. So.
Okay.
Then it could come back as a grant to the class, it could come back as an Apple grant.
All right. So do we have a motion to approve?
Wow.
Do we have a motion to approve the schematic design
I
as
move.
presented?
I move to approve the schematic design.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the schematic designs for the security lobbies for 9 elementary schools. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Joelle. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Miguel.
And for the record, we're going to miss Pasquale as well.
Yeah, we all are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving along to business and finance. Mr. Rastolini.
I'm going to make a couple of
pardon me.
comments to begin, if I could,
Okay.
before David walks through these items. What you see is, as you see each year in August at our regular meeting, are 5 items that require the board's approval that will finalize the budget that we have now talked about. I think Ms. McGee and I actually ran through and calculated 9 months. We have been working on the budget. So as the members of the board know, we have talked about the various and sundry aspects of the budget in lots of settings over the last several months. And again, I want to thank David and Wes and their teams for hard work on this, and the members of the board for your study and comment all along. And with that, Mr. Rastellini, we are ready.
Do we want to take these all separately and vote on them separately?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
these
We
will
need
be
to do that.
separate issues.
Thank you.
I also want to echo Dr. Woods' comments about the hard work from Wes and his team, especially the budget department, led by Jennifer Binky. They've done an outstanding job. As you recall, we start this process in February, where we start educating the board on the budget assumptions and move through growth and improvement compensation, leading up to last week's public hearing, which brings us up to this evening, where we start the final adoption of the current budget and the adoption of the proposed budget and the setting of the tax rate. We do have 5 items tonight. I'm not going to visit those in great detail. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You have seen these quite a few times, so with that, I'll just start walking through these, and basically, if you have any questions or that I can answer, I'll be more than happy. The first item that we have is the amended budget, typically budget number 3 for the year 2015-16. I just want to highlight on your attachment that the general fund budget with this final budget amendment is in excess of $857 million. You do see on page 3 the 3 budgets, official budgets of the district: general fund, child nutrition fund, and the debt service fund. We do give information or memo for the special revenue funds. Those are basically federal grants and such, and our capital project funds. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and would recommend that the board approve the adoption of the 2015-16 amended budget as presented.
Any comments or questions from anybody? Motion. Mr. Lopez?
Ms. Reed, I motion that we, first of all, let me just go ahead and say, David, you know, you and your team did a great job in working with us, and I know we asked some tough questions, and there were some, you all did a good job in explaining some of those issues there that we had, or those questions. So, you know, thank you very much for what you guys have done for us, and for the district on this, and bringing this budget to fruition. So with that, Ms. Reed, I'd like to go ahead and I motion that we approve the item A, which is the 2015-2016 amended budget as presented.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the amended budget as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you. The next 4 items deal with the adoption of the 2016-17 budget, and also the recommendation for the tax rate to support that budget. So with that, we'll start with item number 12B, which is the certified appraisal rolls for the Northside Independent School District. These are the certified values that are submitted by the chief appraiser of each county that Northside has jurisdiction in, Bexar County being the biggest, Bandera, and Medina. So what you have attached to your agenda item are those certifications, and at this time the administration would recommend that the board approve the certified values as presented.
Mr. Lopez?
Ms. Reed, I motion that we approve the certified values as presented by David.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the certified appraisal rolls for Northside Independent School District as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next.
Thank you. The next item that we have under item number 12C is the adoption of the 2016-17 budget. The order of these particular items, it is required that the board consider and adopt the budget before we actually set the tax rate. So you'll see this particular item lining up right in the middle of our other items. We did bring forward the compensation package and the growth and improvement package as late as June of this year, which effectively completes the budget for the 2016-17. You're seeing is the end result of that budget, which we went over in some detail in the public hearing last week. Certainly at this time, if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those questions. And with that, the administration would recommend that the board approve the adoption of the 2016-2017 budget as presented.
Any questions? Mr. Lopez?
Again, Ms. Reed, I go ahead and I motion that we adopt the 2016-2017 budget as presented.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the proposed budget for 2016-2017 as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item that we have under item 12D, the effective tax rate and rollback tax rate for the year 2016 for the Northside Independent School District. This is actually calculated by the county tax assessor collector. These items, particularly the proposed rate and the rollback rate, are included in the tax notice that was published on the Express News on August 6th. The effective rate, albeit a calculation, just compares what the rate would be to raise the same amount of taxes, which for school districts is a little bit tricky because as values go up, state aid goes down, so there's no consideration of that. However, that particular rate, even though we bring it forward for approval as required, is not published in that particular notification. So with that, the administration would recommend that the board consider approving the effective tax rate and rollback tax rate as calculated for the year 2016, and be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Just guess I would make the comment that your finance committee under Mr. Lopez has looked at all of these issues, and we're well aware of them. We're not just passing them the first time we've taken a look at them. We've had a lot of discussions about them. So as finance chair, would you like to make the motion?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Reed, I'd like to go ahead and I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 1.3755, which is effectively a 5.82% increase in the tax rate.
Excuse me, Mr. Lopez,
that's not
you're
it
actually jumping to the next one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
That's
thought
the
that
tax
was,
rate.
I'm sorry. I hit the wrong one.
That was good practice.
Oh,
though.
did I get that one? Okay, I'm sorry.
Back up one.
Next.
I'm sorry.
We're looking at item.
Oh, I motion that we approve the 2016 tax rate. I'm sorry.
Okay. As presented. All those in favor? Oh, we need a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the effective tax rate and the rollback tax rate for the year 2016 as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay.
And the last item that we have for the
Now you get to do it.
Business and Finance is the consideration and approval of an ordinance fixing the tax rate for 2016-17. There is specific language that is required in the motion. I have left that language in big print at each place on the dais, depending on who would like to make the motion. And with that, one other comment I would like to make with our values, the way they've been performing, especially in the last 2 years, we've had the ability to keep our tax rate, our nominal tax rate, the same for, this will be 6 years in a row now. So I think that's
That's pretty amazing.
pretty amazing for a district growing like we are. With that, I would recommend that the board consider the adoption of an ordinance fixing and levying the tax rate for 2016-17 using the language as provided. Thank you.
Any questions from any members of the board? If not, now is the appropriate time.
Now
is
I
the
can do
time.
it. I apologize for the first one. so,
Not a problem.
I go ahead and, Ms. Reed, I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 1.3755, which is effectively a 5.82% increase in the tax rate.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the tax rate as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start on the next budget.
Next year's budget.
Make sure I don't have to do the,
You're stuck with it.
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay, so we have a number of items under the superintendent here. And
Yes, ma'am. The first item is, for the board's consideration, is approval of member attendance to various items that are already covered by your policy. This is something we bring to the board each year for your consideration.
Okay, so we're looking at attendance at the CUBE function and the Black Caucus. Do we have members who are planning on attending? Ms. Chumley, you had your light on?
No, I was just gonna move approval,
Oh, okay.
Katie. I mean, I don't know if any,
Freeman, are you going to CUBE?
No, I was going to comment on the Advocacy Institute at the appropriate time.
Is that on this one?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
ma'am.
it is, okay.
and, because we already have it in policy on NASB.
The national conference and the
national
state
ride and the
conference
state
are
are already
included
in.
in anybody is free to go to them
on any
anytime
policy.
without special approval, but other functions need approval. Ms. Freeman, go ahead.
Comment about the NSBA Institute. As you all know, TASB each year has a grant for one trust congressional school district, and all you need to do is apply, and that application will be given consideration. I know that I've had the grant a few times. Katie went with the grant last year. So if you're interested, I would encourage you to go ahead and fill that out. Reality that in our area there are very few people who apply for that particular grant. So one person per congressional district if you're interested in going.
And we actually cover a number of congressional districts.
Correct.
So you can apply under 1, 2, or 3.
And it's on, the application is online, and Ms. McGee I know could help you. Or if you'll call me, I'll direct you to that. I know that you've done that a few times. Okay.
Sounds good. Pardon me, Mr. Blunt.
Again, I guess, like the board knows, I'm one of the officers for the caucus, and I'm help organizing the education summit. So, again, that's going to include some topics of interest to all students, as well as some national, statewide, known speakers, et cetera, as well as.
And it's going to be
those
just in
addressed.
Austin this year?
It's going to be in Austin this year, yeah. This show, yeah.
Good.
Part of that is, so you know, part of the reason why. Yes, on there,
It's on
February
there?
23rd to 25th.
Okay.
The other one, I don't know if everybody knows this, the TASB and the entity boards have become major supporters and sponsors of both the caucus as well as the Mexican American School Board Association, MASBA. So there's some convenience also having it in Austin to even engage a little bit further, TASB too.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, do we hear a motion to approve these?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the authorization for member attendance at these various institutes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Reed, as you all know, we discussed board operating procedures at our meeting in July. There were no changes suggested to the operating procedures, and we wanted to make sure that we had all members in attendance before we brought this ask for your approval, and we would do that now.
Okay. Since we all have agreed to this already, I don't guess it needs further discussion. So do I hear a motion?
Motion to accept the board operating procedures.
And a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the board operating procedures that are already in place for another year. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Now we have the goals.
Yes, ma'am. At a similar meeting, we talked about board superintendent goals for the 16-17 school year. We did make some adjustments based on the conversation at that meeting in July. Those adjustments are reflected in the document attached to your agenda, and again, we would ask for your approval.
I move approval.
If there are no other comments, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the board superintendent goals as presented. This is for the year 2016-17. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. And that takes us down to future agenda items.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Reed, members of the board, their future agenda items are attached in your electronic agenda. There's also a paper copy in your blue folder. In addition to that, I would point out to the board that your athletic pass to all athletic events, as well as the parking hanger, is in your folder. So please extract that before something goes in the recycle bin. And also remind you, there's an invitation from Stan Lang about participating in coin toss at our football games. If you'd like to do that, that's something that they enjoy, and I know our kids enjoy, and I think I've heard from you all that you all enjoy. So well, there is that. There is
Get a big coin.
some direction in there from Coach Lang with regard to coin toss. Should choose to participate, there's an email in your blue folder.
Okay.
That's it, Ms. Reed.
That's it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's not in there.
We'll send it to you. It's got we'll get it.
Thank you. It's not there. You need early. It's for the off time, right?
Right.
Okay. So that brings us to the end of that
Yes, ma'am.
meeting, I guess. So we will close the regular meeting and begin the closed meeting at 9:15. We'll convene and close meeting, Texas Government Code Sections 551.072 and 551.074 to discuss sites and appointments of employees.
Brian,
Okay.
here's the current.
Thank you. The Board of Trustees, beginning at 10 p.m., will convene an open meeting. We have actions on the appointment of a principal for him and for the Director of Communications.
I move approval of the recommendations as stated, as reviewed.
Take your pick over there. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the appointments as discussed in closed meeting. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. And meeting is adjourning at 10:01.
Could you help me with